Okay, so over the past maybe 2.5 weeks-ish, I had the pleasure of finally reading The Catcher in the Rye. It's something that's been on my list for a really long time. It's one of the most famous works of American literature. It's something my dad has talked to me about several times, as he's like, yeah, when I was a kid, this book was banned, or like there was talks about it being banned, so I had to read it before it got banned, and yeah, like I saw the word fuck a few times near the end, and that was it. And all I could think of was, why is this book banned? I don't get it. So, having finally read it, I did enjoy the book. I am very glad that I finally read it. And I wrote a short, like 1-page review, just kind of summarizing my thoughts. So I want to read that. And now that it's been almost a week since I finished the book and wrote these notes, then I kind of want to revisit them and see if anything that that was a weird way of phrasing it. I want to see if my thoughts have changed since. Here we go. Catcher in the Rye is a novel. The Catcher in the Rye, actually. But The Catcher in the Rye is a novel about lost innocence and grief, spiraling into depression and misanthropy. Holden lost his innocence in at least 3 ways. He lost his brother Allie to leukemia. A classmate, James Castle, committed suicide in Holden's turtleneck after enduring something repulsive, and Holden refuses to elaborate any further than that. And finally, Holden claims to have endured sexual abuse about 20 times in his life. And it's led to him seeing the world as vapid. Nothing matters because things that you love can be lost, tainted, and people you trust can hurt you. When he sees the world as meaningless, he can't fathom how other people can find meaning or joy. Believe he also notes that how much he hates people using the word marvelous to describe things because it's something he just can't fathom in this state. And for him, it's easier to see people as phony because it's easier than caring or trusting. The one thing that brings him joy is seeing his sister Phoebe enjoying herself on a carousel. And to me, I think it's because he sees someone, especially someone that he cares about, able to enjoy the innocence that he since lost. Holden fancies himself a protector of innocence because he is the eponymous Catcher in the Rye, wanting to keep kids from falling off a cliff, falling the way that Mr. Antolini says that Holden already has. And we see Holden enraged at the "fuck you" scrawled in the elementary school, enraged at Jane being with Stradley, someone he knows doesn't care about consent. And while I think part of that might be rooted in jealousy and his own feelings toward Jane, mostly it's because he doesn't want someone he cares about to be hurt or taken advantage of. Overall, I think Holden is a good kid who just doesn't want to see people hurt. But he's too caught up in his pain and trapped in his own unspectacular now to find meaning or make effort. But there is hope by the end of the novel that he can get his life together before it's too late. And I ad-libbed a couple things as I was going, just as I thought about him, but that was more or less my thoughts after finishing the novel. And I still agree with that. The only thing I'd like to add is I had sent my review to a friend of mine, and he's like, okay, I agree with that, but I don't think that I would call Holden misanthropic. I think it's more that Holden is just disappointed in people, and he's disappointed in the way that people choose to live their lives. And I would push back on that ever so slightly, because while I do agree that Holden is disappointed in the way that people go about their lives, being fake and being phony, I think the misanthropy is the lens in how he views people. It's not necessarily that everyone around him is someone that's super fake, everyone around him is super phony, and they don't really mean the things that they say. I think it's just Holden chooses to view them as such, which is what leads to him being disappointed. But yeah, aside from that, I don't really have much else to say, except that, like I said at the start, I'm glad I finally read it. I did enjoy the book. I think that's it.